Okay, let's go ahead and get started. It seems like it's been forever since we've been physically together.
Feels good.
Just to give you a brief update on my crazy life. Last week I was at Autodesk University with Philip. Philip was there. In fact, Philip got professionally certified last week with Autodesk. He deserves a round of applause for that. I don't know of anyone else from BYU that has been professionally certified. So if you have any Autodesk questions, don't bring them to me. Let's clarify. If you have any inventor questions, take them to Philip. So last week I was at AU, and I've attended many software vendor user conferences in my career, many of them, dozens of them. I was very blown away by the size of this conference. Last summer, I went to the co-conference, which was the CATIA Users Conference, and there were about 1,000 people in attendance. A month after that, I went to the Siemens NX conference, and there was about 3,000 people in attendance at that. I don't know the actual number of attendees at AU, but when I went to the first lunch meeting, I walked into this gigantic hall of round tables, and I started at the front, counting the round tables as I walked towards the back. There were 52 round tables going front to back. And as I walked down, I kind of counted them left to right, and it was 16 tables wide. And every table had 10 chairs around it. So if you do the math, it's someplace around 10,000 people. And believe it or not, they served them all in and out. It was crazy to watch. But that aside, I was blown away at how professional the conference was run. I was blown away of kind of the vision that Autodesk has. They aren't looking seriously at SolidWorks or Solid Edge. They feel like they've kind of already blown by those mid-range packages. They clearly have their sights set on CATIA as being the next kind of thing that they want to overtake or equal. And at the moment, they don't have their sights on NX. But they clearly want to be very competitive up against CATIA, being able to do all of its functionality and everything else. That's kind of their mission statement for the next couple of years. While I was there, I had the opportunity of presenting the multi-user stuff to a number of developers. The meeting was supposed to be a half an hour to 45 minutes in length. After about 15 minutes of me showing a few demos, one of the developers stood up and said, "We don't need to see any more. This is a technology that we believe should sweep across all of our products. You need to come in and talk to our Chief Technology Officer." So sometime in January, I'll find myself face-to-face, I guess, with the Chief Technology Officer for Autodesk, because they were, I think the right word would be stunned at what we had done to CATIA and what we had done to NX and what we had done to a meshing program, Qubit. So that was all a very positive kind of meeting. Yesterday, I was at Ryerson University. Have any of you ever heard of Ryerson? One person in the back. Where's Ryerson at? Yeah, it's actually in Toronto, downtown Toronto. Okay. They are in the process of trying to get a design chair or a set of co-chairs approved to kind of beef up and strengthen their design thread that runs through their mechanical engineering program. I was invited by the equivalent of NSF, the National Science Foundation here in the US. It's called NSER. Is that right? NSER. I don't know what that stands for. Probably figure it out. But they invited me and 4 other faculty up there to do the review. I was somewhat shocked when I reviewed their capstone projects. How many of you are in capstone right now? Okay, so pay attention. We were looking through the report, the write-up, and the pictures, the images all looked wonderful. The words seemed to make a whole lot of sense. And then the back part of their report was full of engineering drawings. And I looked at least 5 of their best reports, and I didn't find one engineering drawing that I could actually make based on the engineering drawing. There were not all of the location dimensions, there were not all of the size dimensions. Some very basic things were just not there. There wasn't one drawing that had a tolerance on it. Not a tolerance in the title block, not a tolerance on a note, not an actual tolerance on a dimension. There were some parts that were called out to 5 decimal places. You would turn the page over, and the next set of drawings was in feet and inches. I mean, it was shocking to me. Could you mute your mic, please? Thank you. So, as I kind of... Yes? Could you mute your mic, please? It's still open. Okay, so as I kind of reviewed this and made mention of it and talked about it, I was surprised at the other faculty that were there. Their comment was, well, these drawings look very similar to what our students produce. And I said, you mean they don't even have the title block filled out? The title block would have a part name on it, but it wouldn't have a part number, it wouldn't have a name as to who drew it, it wouldn't have a date on it, it wouldn't have information like that. And so I was surprised kind of at the difference, because I've seen capstone projects here, I've seen capstone projects at a number of other universities. I was just kind of shocked by what the comparison was there. So if you're working on your capstone and you want somebody to glance at your drawings, come in during my office hours. I'm happy to kind of look at your engineering drawings. I won't take a great deal of time, but I'm willing to kind of look at them and make sure that they represent a good, serious effort of doing engineering drawings. Okay, today we're going to talk a little bit about the grading rubric. We're going to talk a little bit about preparation for the final exam that happens when? Thursday in this room. You'll have 50 minutes. And then we need to talk about when your CD is due. Do we know when the CD is due? Next Wednesday. So December 14th At 4:45, it needs to be into the ME office. We will send an email out to that effect, but the CDs need to be here so that we can actually look at them. We can get them up on a website so that the industrial guests, of which we will have General Motors, we'll have Siemens, we'll have Altair, we will have a number of other faculty kind of involved with looking at your work, trying to get a glimpse of your effort before you formally present on December 16th.
I know you said we could put them on either on CD or DVD, but is there a size limit as to how much our files are like all together?
Size limit it has to be below that I'm setting?
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying if it doesn't fit on a CD,
Put it on DVD.
put it on a DVD. Okay? So we want kind of all of your files. And the reason that I collect that is because on a regular basis, a semester, a year, 2 years down the road, I will get an email saying, Dr. Jensen, I was in your 471 class, I really did this great project, I moved, and because I moved, I have no idea where my copy is. Can you burn me a copy and send it to me, or get it to me? And I've done that dozens of times, okay? And so things do get lost, but you have put a good chunk of your life, at least this semester, a good chunk of your life, into this project, and it would be crazy to just have it disappear. So I try and keep a backup that would be useful for you. Okay, so let's talk about this evaluation sheet just quickly. So for the remote students, we've uploaded this to TCC. And so you should be able to look at it or print it off from there. If you don't have it, just kind of glance at the presentation. So these columns will represent each project, okay? So whatever the first group is, we'll just call them group 1, group 2, and so on as we go through this thing. And as the team is presenting their work, you need to kind of score them based on this below average, average, above average, excellent, rave review, the best of the best kind of thing. I have found that if you start doing this scoring 1 to 5, if you start doing that on the first project and you give all 5s, then all of a sudden you need to give 6s or 7s or whatever else, okay? So a different way that I use personally to score your projects, I use this notion of a check mark with there being a check plus, a check plus plus, a check minus, a check minus minus. And so as I'm thinking about kind of this first presentation, it's pretty easy for me to say, oh, I think this is above average, check, 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 and put a bunch of checks in there. As I see the next presentation, if the next presentation is better or worse than the first one, it's easy for me to say, well, this is a check minus, this is equal to it, it's a check. If I need to come back here and adjust this first thing because this really, the first presentation is the best of the best, I can easily come and add pluses or whatever to that. And so using kind of this check approach may be a quicker and easier way for you to kind of score the different teams. This order to this sheet is not the order that you need to give your presentation in. You can give your presentation in whatever order makes the most sense. You should develop a story line to your presentation so that it's something that people can walk away from and remember, okay? But it ought to have components